Hi, it's Ray from Pro Shaper Workshop in Charlton, Massachusetts, and today we're going to do something different. It's going to be another series because I don't think I can do it in one shot, so it'll probably take 3 installments at least. Well, what we're going to do is we'll make this fender here. It's a nice little fender for a motorcycle. It was made by one of my students a couple years ago at the class. He came from New Zealand. His name was Davey Patterson, and very inquisitive and learned a ton while he was here. He took, I think, the 130-hour class I have, and this is just one of the things that he did. He did a whole bunch of stuff, and he wanted to make a small motorcycle fender with a bunch of different features. So I said, okay, this is what we'll do, and we'll put a nice little hard spine in it, and then he wanted a little ducktail on the back and a little reverse curve, and then we put some a little step on the side or joggle, and then we reinforce the edge so we got a safe edge here. So I show this to a lot of classes. It's a nice little eye catcher. It's a nice doable project for a class. So I had a class this past weekend, and I think 3 or 4 of the guys jumped on this. They really liked the idea of trying to learn how to make one of these. They were all total beginners. I believe Davey was pretty much a total beginner too when he came here to the class. So I explained to him how you make this fender. That's one piece, the whole thing. And what it starts out as is this. So this is this. But before it becomes this, it has to become this. This becomes this. So I just had an inquiry in the comments section. Somebody wanted to make a fender similar to this, but with the sides on it. But it also, he's putting a big tire on it, so he wants it wider. So what you would have to do that is the same exact processes. You would start with a bigger blank of metal. This is 19 gauge. And the way I make motorcycle fenders, where you do both shrinking and stretching at the same time, is I make these shrinking facilitators. I've got 2 of them for motorcycle fenders. This is the one we use for the smaller fender. And we start out right there, and you'll see the process of what happens. And then this is a larger one. This will make a fender that's about that wide or so, a little more crown in it. And you could make these are shrinking facilitators. If you go on my website, you'll see that I have one video that's a premium video. It's called Learning How to Make the Shrinking Facilitator, and it's 99 cents to rent on Vimeo. You'll find the link on my website, proshaper.com, and you can also download it for $9.99, and you own the video for $9.99, or you can stream it for, I think, 7 days for 99 cents. So it's very inexpensive. To make these shrinking facilitators, all you need is standard construction lumber. And the video, I show all the processes of making one of these. It's very simple to do. You need a screw gun, a jigsaw or a bandsaw, and some lumber. And another critical element to have is this material here that's on the surface that protects the wood. And this takes the place of a stump. You don't need stumps anymore. There's no sense in ever going for a stump ever again, because you can make these any size you want. You can make a half of a motorcycle tank. It's basically like a hammer form that helps you both stretch and shrink at the same time. It's an incredible tool. Now, you can do production with it too. So motorcycle fenders you can crank out pretty fast. The tanks, if you make a generic tank shape, then you could make a lot of those tanks with the same shrinking facilitator. Now this is the coating that we put on here. This is called EPDM, which is an acronym for some kind of man-made type rubber, and it's available worldwide. I used to get this at Home Depot, but for some reason they stopped selling it, and it has a really strong adhesive which will allow it to take any shape that you make. It's stretchy, and the adhesive is incredibly strong. And I thought when I put these on that they would probably only last 6 months or so, but they've lasted for years now, and they get beat up really bad. You know, you can dig the edge of the metal right into it, and it kind of almost self-heals. It actually helps hold the metal from jumping out. I do have a couple stumps, and I haven't done it yet, but I should coat them with this EPDM, and that will make them much better. So let's show you how that will transform this flat panel into a Fender and also give you a shrinking and stretching at the same time. So I'm put some gloves on, and we're going to use one of my Pro Shaper mallets. You can't use, it's very difficult to use those standard little nylon mallets. They just don't have enough power to them. I call them mosquito mashers. This is a shaping hammer. And the steel ones work nice too, but I find the Delrin will not mark up the metal as much as the steel will. So on this case, I'm going to use this end here, which is a medium crown. This is a low crown. And I'm going to hit it right like this, and you're going to see what happens here. So I just hit it every couple inches or so. So that is a spontaneous gather, and I've got a little bit of stretching going on in the middle there. Now you saw how that automatically started arcing on us. So let's hit it one more time. Now I'm going to hit it in the middle of all those hits. This is 19 gauge steel. That's 40 thousandths of an inch thick, 1 millimeter essentially. Alright, so that's a little bit of stretching, but it caused all that gathering. And now what I'm going to do is collect all those gathers. Now I might go to a little bit higher crown hammer. Let me get the higher crown. I'm going to crush these gathers now. And when I do that, what's happening is the gathered metal is up like this, and I'm going to crush it so that it goes like that. It pushes into itself. So that will cause shrinkage on the edge. We've got a little bit of stretching already. And I went to this higher crown handle. All my hammers, you can change the heads out, but I've got a ton of these hammers in the shop, so I just grab another one instead of changing the heads out. So now what you do is you collect this and corral it like that. And if you want to make this pop up some more, you hit it at the tail, and then you crush that down. And there's your shrink. So here we go. We're going to hit it at the end, and then we hit it on the sides. And what we want is that little hard spine right there. That's an indicator that we've got a good shrink. We corral it in, hit it on the end, knock it down. And we want it to be pretty even to get the nice arc here. We want the same amount of shrinks and try to be consistent. Alright, so there's one round of shrinking and stretching, and we're now at about this point. Let's try another round of stretching and see if we pop up some more. And we'll use this end. I think it'll be more effective. Alright, so now we've got 2 rounds or maybe 3 rounds of shrinking and stretching. Well, I have to crush those down yet, but now we're at this point here. So it's starting to look like a motorcycle fender. Knock those shrinks down. There's one, that's a tricky one. See, it's starting to go over on me a little bit. You got to be very careful on those. So I'm going to hit this in a way that I can open that up. There. Knock those down on the flat. You don't want them going over, it'll cause a crack. As you're hitting the center, the side ones, the gathers will reactivate, and you got to pay attention, otherwise they go up a little bit too far, causing that little problem. So now I'll take and just squash these all down. Alright, we'll call that phase 1. And now what we want to do is get this all smooth, and then we probably do it one more time here. So you try to do it in stages so you don't ask the metal to do too much for you. So it's taking this arrangement by beating it up and shrinking and stretching it. It's taking this arrangement. It doesn't have the correct curl yet, or the correct radius. So we're going to open this up like this. And now we're going to smooth it out. Now, because this is a very narrow panel, really to do this right, you need a 2-inch wheel. You could do it on a 3-inch wide wheel. I could even do it on my big 4.5-inch wide wheels, but the 2-inch wheel works really good. And I've got a bunch of these Harbor Freight wheels in here. A lot of the students that take my class, that's all they have is a Harbor Freight wheel. So I have the Harbor Freight wheels in my class as well. So these have my kit that I used to make. And originally these are bottom adjuster wheels, and we turn them into top adjuster wheels. And to do that, you have to turn the machine upside down. You got to drill a couple holes. These are the original mounting holes up here. And then I made this bracketry and stuff. And you can make a few modifications to the anvil or the yoke here. And we make them so that now that they're adjustable, so you can dial the attitude of that anvil in. These little springs, we have a source for the springs, and I used to sell this kit, and I thought I was going to sell, I designed it and I thought I was going to sell a whole bunch of them, but I ended up selling about 25 of them or so. And the wheel sells for anywhere from used, you can buy them for as little as $150, to new. I think the most that you pay at Harbor Freight was probably about $350 with the wheels and everything. But there's other places that sell them for as much as $800. The exact same thing, they just have a different sticker on them. And we sold the kit, I believe it was like $439 or something like that with shipping. And I think people balked that it was too expensive because they paid such little money for the wheel. Why did it cost so much? Well, that's what it cost to do it. We didn't make any money on the things. I thought I was going to sell a lot of them, so after a while I discontinued it. But I'm thinking now I'm getting a lot more people watching my channel, and they're finding the old video that we made explaining all about the Harbor Freight English wheel kit. So they're calling me up, can we buy an English wheel kit? And they don't know how much it is because it's not on the website anymore. They probably wouldn't buy it if I told them it was $439. So what I decided I'm going to do is I have all the drawings and everything, and I think I'm just going to do it as a plan set. So there'll be plans and some written instructions to how to do all the different steps and how to source the different pieces that you need. And I think I'll price that at about $49.95, and that'll be on the website hopefully next week. I know I haven't got the gathering tool plans done, but they're on the front burner. I'm going to try to get them done. I'm a really busy guy, so. But this we've got all done anyways. It's just a matter of putting it into a package, and we'll be able to have them on the website next week, probably late next week. So I also have a video showing how to modify these wheels so that they function a lot nicer. And the first question is, why would you want to tip this wheel upside down? Well, I'm really an advocate of the top adjuster, and this is a perfect example of why you need the top adjuster. This is the next step that we're going. We're going to transform this into this, and if you watch when I do this, when I wheel this, you can see that if I had this adjuster down here, it wouldn't work. You'd be bumping into it. But the way I've got it configured now, you've got all this nice clearance under here. Some people have pointed out there's a little bit of a penalty on this wheel because you don't have as much clearance over here. But generally most panels have a shallow side and a deep side. So if you have a deep side to a panel, you put it on the outboard side. If you have a shallow side, you put it on the inboard side. So that's really not that big a deal. So having the ability to go under the anvil and the yoke here, and that's how I design all my wheels because of that. It is oftentimes when you work the panel out of arrangement, it goes into this curl configuration, and it really boosts the utility of the wheel and allows you to use, this is actually almost a low crown wheel, sort of in the middle to low crown range, and you can get a really super nice surface with it. No wheel marks or anything. So let's wheel this up and see what happens. This is all going to be lumpy bumpy for a bit. Now what everybody obsesses about is the strength of the wheel. This wheel, the frame does not have a ton of strength, so it's got elasticity in it. It's going to move while we move through here. Even my big giant yellow wheel has elasticity, and everything does. If you make them too stiff, you won't be able to traverse through a panel with it. So even though this is weak, you know, bucking this all up with strengtheners and everything, I don't think you're really going to get a tremendous amount of gain out of doing all that. You do get a lot of gain out of, I believe, turning this upside down and making it into a top adjuster. Now I also have on the plans a potential to turn these into a, if you upgrade to say like my YouTube wheel or something, which is a level above. I mean, the adjuster's super tight on it. It's a super precision, nice machine. Versus this is just a tube with another tube in it, and it's really kind of sloppy, and there's no way to take the slop out without re-engineering and rebuilding the whole thing. But it works. It works. It's great for patch panels. This motorcycle works. So what I was thinking was that a lot of people, if they do upgrade to a better wheel, then they can turn this into a tipping wheel. And if you haven't watched my tipping wheel videos, and we will be doing a lot of tipping making this panel, so you'll see the benefit of having a standalone tipping wheel. So this will take about 5 minutes to fully smooth out, and you'll see what we got then. Now you knock these down by pulling towards you. That works the best. And you can do a half of the panel at a time here. Now I have a riser on it too. The way these are configured, it's both a riser and it makes a bigger footprint, so it's a lot more stable. Again, that's just made out of construction lumber, and that will be in the kit, plans kit too, how to build that. We want to be very even in all our wheeling, so we don't have an anomaly in that radius. We want a nice clean radius. If we do make a mistake, we can fix it though. Metal is clay, so anything you do to screw up the plan is fixable. The idea is to try not to make any mistakes, or any really bad mistakes. Got that end smooth, now we'll smooth this end. Now the rubber shed a little bit, and a little bit of material got on here, so you don't want to roll over that. So we're going to clean that off. Usually a little lacquer thinner. Let me get a little lacquer thinner, we'll take that off. Somebody just emailed, said, what do you have all these big rolls of paper for? Well, cleaning. They last about a month. They're about that big in diameter. We got 4 of them in the shop. I think they're about $53 a roll, and they last for at least a month, if not sometimes 2 months. The end, you have to go this way here to get that end settled down. All we're doing is just settling this all in, and then we're going to do another round of hammering, both for the stretching in the center and then shrinking on the edges. You hear the noise, that means those shrinks haven't settled in yet. So we're going to settle them right down. Now if we were wheeling this whole panel, that'd be stretch shaping it, 100% stretch. We would wheel a lot more in the edge, on the center, and less as you come out to the edge. So we're taking advantage of the shrinking process, so we're probably getting a 50% shrink, 50% stretch ratio, which means we won't thin the center of the fender so much. Now you see this is starting to get to the point where it's coming around, and that would have hit the adjuster there. Alright, that's smoothed out pretty good. And now if we go like this, see how the sides come up? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that to pop up a lot more. One more round with the shrinking. about every 3 inches or so. And I'm about 2 inches or 1.5 inches in here. Pop up those spontaneous gathers. And I'll try to deepen it up a little bit here. So those are pretty even. And now we're going to knock those down. I get a kick, a lot of people say, they send me an email, well, I can't swing a hammer, I'm really old. And I say, well, how old are you? And they say they're 54. I says, well, in 3 weeks I'll be 70, so welcome to the club. Alright, and then we'll wheel that out and see what that looks like. We might have to do one more round. We're not, we don't have too close a radius there yet, but we'll see what happens. And we'll just wheel it a little bit to see if we can get that crown to pop a little more in the center. We got it all smoothed out now, but we're probably going to give it one more round of shrinks and stretches. So remember, it's hard to do these videos because it usually takes more than 10 minutes to make a lot of this stuff. So actually it takes 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes to make things. And you can't have an audience expecting them to watch a 4-hour video. So the options are is to make it in sections, or you do one of those videos where the guy gets a right angle grinder out and he cuts a piece of 2x2 steel tubing, and then he bends it, and then he welds it with a stick welder, and there's lots of sparks and everything, and there's crazy music in the background, and he doesn't say what he's doing, and people watch them to the tune of 2 or 3 million views, which I'll never understand, and you really don't learn anything. So we don't want to take that route, but we'd like the 2 or 3 million views. So you got to tell more friends. So now we're coming around, see, so now it's right underneath there. But it's going to take one more round of hammering and stretching in the middle and shrinking on the edge and then planishing it out. And I think that's where we'll be. But just to give you a little teaser for part 2, after we get that to the right radius value, which will be to come right around, let me show you how we're going to put the peak in there. So here's just a practice panel somebody was doing at the class, and we'll throw a peak in here. This is my other tipping wheel setup, which is super versatile. You can put all kinds of different wheels in it, and this is my little peaking wheel. You could also do this on any English wheel with the right tooling setup. So a peak really makes the panel pop, and you can see that's a nice looking panel with a peak on it. So, and then of course everybody does the bead roller art, and you can do that very simply too. And you can make some really cool stuff with just a little die like that. So we'll do a little more shaping on this tomorrow, and then we'll put that peak in. So that's a preview of coming attractions, and you'll be amazed at how nice this Fender comes out. Like, remember now that we can make it any size we want depending on our shrinking facilitator size. That depends on you, how wide a Fender and how narrow a Fender you want. And you saw that you can use a simple Harbor Freight wheel with my kit in it. Makes it a lot more easy to do, and it wasn't that hard of work. You need a good mallet. You can make your own mallet. You can come to my website, proshaper.com, and check to see what we offer for mallets. We've got about 3 variations there. I hope you learned something today, and thanks for watching. Thanks for helping grow our channel, and please like, subscribe, add comments, tell your friends, tell the forums you belong to, all your car club members and everything else. We want to grow the channel, and remember, metal is clay. It's Ray Chalene from Pro Shaper Workshop in Charlton, Massachusetts.